I remember the first time I heard Hendrix do Wind Cries Mary. I was captivated by these two-note combinations he was doing. And then I realized very quickly that he had inherited these from his predecessors, the great R&B guitar players who were doing these things, these beautiful parts over great songs that I had been listening to as I had been growing up. Now, we talk about triads a lot in music, especially on guitar, but there is something more fundamental. It's the dyad or the double stop. They're just so easy to move around, and indeed, if you're using one finger, you can do it on the top two strings on one fret. These two-note shapes that exist everywhere on the neck in any particular key you're playing in will inform you of what your target chord tones are as you're playing rhythm or lead. They'll give you an overview of the fretboard that you've never had before. So whether you're talking about Chuck Berry and Johnny B. Goode, all the way through to Ritchie Blackmore and Smoke on the Water, or if you're talking about Steve Cropper or Jimi Hendrix, or even John Mayer, these tools, these double stops, these dyads, these two-note clusters are incredibly viable in all eras of music. So let's dive in. So we are in C-sharp minor, which is in many ways my favorite minor key to play guitar in, partly because the hand fits perfectly right here from fret 9 up to fret 12, but also it's exactly the same as E major. So if the song shares those two chords, whatever piece of music you're playing to, you get all the great stuff in E also. C-sharp minor is also a great key for double stops. A double stop is simply two notes played at the same time. It could be a fourth or a fifth or a sixth. If it's a fourth, it can be very easy because it's often just one finger barred across two strings. And as I said, because it shares the key of E, the mapping is really great visually, because if you're in C-sharp minor, you go to E, it's exactly the same. Now, some people might not know about this, but the gear wheel that appears on the YouTube video allows you to slow down my performance. So I encourage you to slow it down to 0.75 or even half speed and look at the diagram and learn it at your own pace. So now let's dive in and just play some blues, do some soloing, and incorporate double stops here and there. Check it out. There it is. Here's another one. You do it down here, it's Hendrixy. There's one. It's great when you just pepper them in here and there playing the blues. Couple of words about the guitar. This is a Shabat Telly. I chose the wood for this. It's an ash body. It's lightweight. Quarter sawn maple neck, rosewood fingerboard. The radius is 9.5 to 12. I really like compound radius necks. It has a single action truss rod that you can access right here really easily. I like that because when the weather changes, things can shift, and I like to keep the action really, really low and easy to play. I'm using this Lawler P90 at the neck for my sound. I'm playing through the Bombshell Overdrive by Amplified Nation through real speakers and real microphones straight into my DAW. I have this set on 6 on the clean channel. It's really big and open sounding. I'm using a pedal in front of it. This is the Karma Machine Shop. It's two of his pedals combined, basically a clone of the very expensive and hard to find Nobel's ODR1. He calls that the ODR. And then also the clone of the very expensive and hard to find Distortion. You can buy these separately. They're good clones, but this has some options for blending and stacking, changing direction of the pedals and everything. I'm only using one side of this pedal for the lead sound. It's the ODR side. Lastly, I installed this old Tom Holmes pickup at the bridge backwards, and I like the way it sounds. I'm superstitious. Who knows if it makes a difference? But we're trying it out. So when you're playing double stops, I think it's really important to have a light touch with the left hand because you want to smoothly change finger positions. And it can be kind of a challenge if you're pressing down too hard. So make sure your guitar is easy to play if you can, and make sure you're not pressing down too hard so that you can lightly move and connect all of these double stops. If you want to download this jam track, then just click below and sign up for the 30 free lessons. If you're already signed up, then it's already yours. So let me dive in again and show you more of this powerful, simple, practical tool that's used so much by people like John Mayer, Jimi Hendrix, and so many others. Sounds really good on the low 2 strings, much like Wind Cries Mary. Some gain on it, neck pickup, more Hendrix. You can also hang on one note, use it as an anchor, and add a bunch of others on other strings. That's another thing I always love is pulling on this 4th. And here are some 6ths. And you just have to mute the string in between. I'm skipping a string. Do it down here. Always good to alternate it with blues and other styles. And also, always great to just slide. Just stay on 2 strings and slide with 1 finger. And I usually use the index or the 3rd finger. So playing in the key of C sharp minor and its corresponding E major just gives you a great way in to learn to map and see the whole fretboard. Then of course you can change keys if you want, but it's a really, really good way, a friendly way, a nice way to get to know everywhere on the fretboard. If I play this E chord right here, look at the double stops I have. And I've got a 6th harmony here, and a 5th here. Once you start seeing these shapes and learning them, then you can start experimenting and creating riffs that come from both above and below. You do it here, it's a little more throaty, a little more Hendrixy, and we're back in home position, C sharp minor here. Of course, you can do it here too. And these are all both in the key of E major and C sharp minor. So my advice is to discover all of the E chord shapes everywhere they appear, and also all of the C sharp minor chord shapes everywhere they appear. And then you'll start to see where the double stops exist within these chords. Also, if you learn the E major scale on every string, it'll give you a great and new perspective on learning the neck, both going this way and this way. So hanging out on the top 3 strings, you do have to make a position shift when you shift to the B string and the G string. Of course, up here, you can just slide with one finger. It's so easy. I like the sound of it on the low strings too. Going from the 5th to the 3rd interval there, that's kind of sweet. Repeating a phrase and adding in a double stop. Kind of unresolved there. Go ahead and resolve it. Let's get into some rhythm here. You have to aim well and keep the pocket steady by keeping this going constantly. Muting is good too. Combining rhythm and lead is always a good thing. Adds interest to your soloing and your rhythm.
Hey guys, a lot of the time YouTube will bring you my videos even though you're not subscribed. If you get the chance, click this subscribe button and ring the bell.